Hello, everyone. Welcome to the inaugural version of the Midwest Fanatic. I am Kyle, the Fanatic Peterson. We are getting started here in the beautiful Spring Hill, Kansas, with our inaugural episode of the Midwest Fanatic. Thank you so much for looking into a smaller channel and getting started with something new outside of your usual Fox, CBS, and main channels on YouTube and Twitter, vice versa. Looking forward to adding a fresh voice to the airwaves. We're going to get into all of that. This channel is going to focus on everything small market sports. As you can see behind me, we have many different versions of the teams that I follow. These are teams that do not get national headline news outside of the Chiefs, of course, but that wasn't always the case. And we are looking forward to bringing you some of the stories in sports and in media that do not have tens of millions of people in the general area of them happening. AKA the Chiefs, the Royals, the Portland Oregons of the world. We are going to talk about my connections to those, welcome you to the channel, and of course talk to you about what this mission statement of our channel is going to be. Like I said, my name is Kyle Peterson, and I have been in the marketing world of sports for years and years and years. Looking forward to bringing you my voice and my opinions and my perspective on things. Of course, we are not going to have the technological resources as well as the stats and the quick firing of things. This is going to be a channel that's going to talk to you about what it looks like from the average fan perspective that doesn't live in New York, doesn't live in LA, doesn't live in these massive cities where everybody gets the attention, like the Dallas Cowboys, things of that nature. We're going to talk about the Sacramento Kings. We're going to talk about the Milwaukee Bucks. We're going to talk about the Tampa Bay Bucks. We're going to talk about teams that don't get the stardust, as I like to say, of some of the bigger teams in the country. And it's going to be an interesting take. And if you are not a Cowboys fan, not a LA Dodgers fan, not a New York Yankee fan, and you want to listen to sports and someone talk about things that are not so boring and so mainstream, this is going to be your place to check in. Going to talk to you about kind of a little bit about me, what I have experienced in my life, why I am here, and why I'm trying to give this a go. Went to school for journalism, wanted to be into sports broadcasting, wanted to be the play-by-play guy, talking about, on sidelines of Chiefs games or, whatever game it might be, KU basketball. Didn't end up working out that way. Currently in sales. I am in medical sales. I've been doing that for a couple years now. Done well enough. Have a nice little setup schedule where I do have time in my life to put extra resources into something like this. So welcome in. Hopefully you find it fun. This is going to be light. We are not doing this for profit. We are not doing this for money. We are doing this simply because we love sports. Simply because we think we can do it better than the people that you've been seeing all over the place. So welcome in, Midwest Fanatic, Kyle the Fanatic Peterson here, looking forward to bringing you all things small market sports and trying to shed a little bit of light on the teams that don't get the love as much as they should. So going to give a big thank you to my wife, Quinn. She is just my rock. She is someone that will always stand by my side, helps me set up all this technology and getting everything going. So looking forward to giving her a name drop whenever I can. Point of this channel, like I said, small market teams. We're going to talk about the Portlands of the world. We're going to talk about the Milwaukee Bucks of the world. We're going to talk about, of course, the Kansas City Chiefs. As big as they are, they still are a small market team. They have a national brand, aka thanks Taylor Swift, thanks 3 Super Bowl championships in the last 5 years. But 10 years ago, nobody was talking about them, and now they are because of their greatness. And we're going to keep that train rolling. Let's talk about the Chiefs as we get going in our inaugural show here, but we're kind of going to give you a quick rundown of what you can expect on a weekly basis from this channel first. The first thing is, of course, we are going to follow the Kansas City Chiefs as our number one team, our number one story. We're going to lead off most shows with them, of course, during season, as well during the off season, simply because for the Chiefs right now, there is no off season. It's always news. There's always moving and shaking going around, whether we're hosting the Lombardi or coming close. So that's the first thing. The second thing is we're going to talk about the 3 different main days and times that we are going to be doing inputs and shows. We're going to do one show on a Tuesday, about an hour. Each show is going to be about an hour. Tuesday, we're kind of got a pregame for the week, kind of what's going on in sports, what we're looking at as far as marquee matchups for these small market teams, what to watch for, and that show is going to be about an hour. I do like Thursday Night Football. Thursday Night Football is something I look forward to. My week wraps up on Thursdays, and I get to kind of check into weekend mode on Thursday afternoons, and Thursday Night Football is something I always look forward to. A lot of times the matchups aren't great, but that's okay because a lot of times they're small market teams. So point being is that, we're going to touch base with people on Thursday Night Football. We're kind of broadcast that game. Sometimes those games get a little crappy towards the end because of the blowout, kind of like last night was looking like, but we're going to do a show on Thursdays as well. Saturdays is actually going to be a little bit of a shift gears. Haven't really mentioned this, but we are going to be doing a Saturday night game night. We do like video games. I do like board games. We're going to not just talk about sports on this channel for about an hour, 2 hours every Saturday night. I could care less about college football. I'm going to give you my 2 cents on that a little bit later in the show. But point being is that Saturday we're going to be playing some chess. We're going to be playing some League of Legends. We're going to be playing some Call of Duty. Of course, Black Ops comes out here in just a week or so. A lot of my buddies and friends are all about the Warzone. I never got on the Warzone train, but we're going to jump in with those guys and have them carry me for some Black Ops. I played some Black Ops 3, Black Ops 4 back in the day, and I kind of like that version of the game, and we're going to give it a go here, and you'll be seeing some video games and some board games on Saturdays for a little bit of switch gears. And, of course, Sunday is going to be our main show. Sunday is going to be our 3.5 hour show whenever the Chiefs play. Usually it's not in the 12 o'clock window. We're going to touch base on that a little bit later, but usually that is going to be in the 4:30 window, obviously Eastern, or it's going to be Sunday Night Football. We do play at 12 o'clock every once in a while, of course. If that's the case, then we'll be doing it at 12, but usually it's going to be later in the afternoon, and we will be on for the entirety of the Chiefs game. We're going to give you the play-by-play. We're going to follow that team, of course, every step of their way as they try to get the three-peat here. So let's talk about the Chiefs as I segue into this. Today will be my inaugural post, my inaugural show. It's going to be about an hour long. Each show will be about an hour long, except for, of course, when we're broadcasting a full Chiefs game. That will be the length of the game. So let's talk about the Chiefs. What is happening here is absolutely ridiculous. I think, in my opinion, it is way more impressive than the Patriots dynasty. Patriots dynasty actually had 2 different dynasties. The Patriots had a 5-year run. They had 10 years where they really weren't doing very well. They didn't, I don't know, maybe one Super Bowl appearance in 10 years. They lost. And then they had another 5-year run. This is not that. They had 2 solid 5-year dynasties. This is a 7-year dynasty, and it is continuing to grow. I mean, people like myself are on the internet. They have people who are quitting their 9-to-5 jobs just to follow this team. Obviously, the internet and social media has made that possible, whereas back when the Patriots were doing it, it wasn't quite as mainstream, of course. Point being is that what they are doing is going to go down in the history books as the greatest run in the history of almost any sport. I mean, outside the Yankees winning 27 championships, I don't think there's been a more impressive run. And the Yankees, of course, had 120 years to do it. So, thinking of the Chiefs, what they are doing and what Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid combination has done is second to none. I don't care. Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. When it comes to the engine that runs the team and the star power do not really come close. Obviously, the additions of Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift and the Swifties and the amount of media attention that they get in this day and age is adding to the sparkle. But this is no longer a football team, folks. This is a traveling road show. The evil empire. This is Darth Vader on the Death Star blowing planets up. I mean, we have no number 1 receiver. We have no number 2 receiver. We are picking up, Kareem Hunt in his basement, pumping iron with his buddies and dominating teams. What's going to really be the key whether they can cap this off or not is one, if we can get the 1 seed this year. I don't think anybody's going to come in and beat us in Arrowhead to get to the Super Bowl. And if we can be a good NFC team in the Super Bowl, I really like the Lions. The Lions, what they are doing with their roster, I think, if you take the quarterbacks out, they have a far better roster. Their weapons are very scary, dual-headed monster in the backfield. The NFC is almost becoming stronger than the AFC. The Chiefs have kind of just put the AFC into submission to a degree, but people are just kind of waving the white flag, maybe minus the Ravens. But point being is that I don't think if the Chiefs get to the Super Bowl, it will not be a given. We will play a really good team. I don't think San Francisco is going to get there again. I really like the Lions. That is my pick coming out of the NFC this year. They should have been there last year. Dan Campbell, kick some damn field goals, bro. Like, come on, what are you doing? You got to win by 1. 4th and 4 on your 38. Like, kick the damn field goal. But point being is that I think it's going to be a Chiefs-Lions Super Bowl. If the Chiefs don't make it to the Super Bowl, it will be the Ravens, and we'll touch base on that. But the Chiefs have evolved into something more than a football team. They are something that is going to go down in the history books as the greatest social media, greatest topic of conversation in the history of professional sports, and honestly in the history of entertainment. And we always think that football is a sport, and the business of football is just like WWE. It's just not scripted. It's an entertainment business. It's like the movies. It's like WWE. It's like literally Broadway. That's what it is. They sell tickets, they get money, they have TV contracts to entertain people, and that's what it is. And in the entertainment industry, there has never been something that has gotten to the level of the Kansas City Chiefs. I am sorry. The Patriots, it was before this big internet push and before the shine can get as bright as it is now, so they were kind of just pre all of this, and also they were a little bit more boring. They were the Patriot way. They didn't have Taylor Swift following them around, and they win Super Bowls 13-3. This is not that. I mean, the Chiefs' offense is down, but when it comes to overall scoring points and just flair, but heck, they're still scoring 26, 27 points every single game, and it's not something that is really falling off a cliff when it comes to offensive. The Patriots were even more of a defensive team than the Chiefs are now, but they are to the Chiefs to a degree outside of the flash of the Taylor Swifts and the Mahomes and the Brittany Mahomes and him owning the Royals and being everywhere. They have copied the Patriots model to a degree, but they have their own twist on it, and their twist is, of course, Patrick Mahomes is the engine of this team. He is the engine of this dynasty. It is through him that this whole thing is pushed through. With the Patriots, it was more Teddy Bruschi and those boys up front and their secondary and just people not being able to score a single point on them. Well, the Chiefs' defense is fabulous. I will give the nod to those teams in the Patriots dynasty of having just a drop better defense. They were a little bit more dynamic that way. It was also a different league. I mean, the rules were different. I mean, far less 50-yard pass interference penalties and things of that nature. So I think as Chiefs fans, as Midwesterners, if we do follow the Chiefs, and whether you're a lifetimer like me, watching them at 6 years old with your pops, or whether you're a newer person on the bandwagon, we have to just tip our caps to them and thank them for their greatness. And it's something that me as a fan has never thought was humanly possible for someone that I would follow. It's not something that I thought would humanly possible for a team that's in the Midwest to accomplish. And of course, the salary cap helps, so we're going to get to that because we're going to touch base on the Royals ALDS loss here in a minute. But point being is that the Chiefs in the salary cap era, they just found the guy. They finally decided to not bring in the Brody Croyles and the the Trent Greens and get free agents and cast-offs from other teams. They went to go ahead and grab their own guy, and guess what? It happened to be the guy, and here we are. Andy Reid can pretty much do anything when it comes to offensive schemes. He gets a little too cute for on the 2-yard line sometimes, throwing slants to Juju instead of pounding it in. But let's just talk about this Saints game for just a minute as I wet my whistle here. The Saints had no business only being, giving 5.5 points in this game. I don't care if you got me out there running wide receiver. This team in the Chiefs is basically coasted through that game. The Chiefs could have played with 10 guys. They could have played with 10 guys. They could have run Wildcat the whole time. Yes, the Saints scored 13 points. They missed an extra point. Should have been 14 points. This defense of the Kansas City Chiefs, they have pretty much the best run defense in the league, one of the best defensive lines in the league. In my opinion, they have the best linebacking core in the league. The Fred Warners of the world in 49ers kingdom, they are getting older. The Nick Boltons, the Leo Chanels, and Drew Tranquill, that was a steal from the Chargers. The Chargers are idiots. He led the team in tackles for 2 years, and then, give him to a divisional rival. They released him. They didn't trade him, but that was a bad move by them. But we have the greatest linebacking core in the league, and everybody's, L'Jarius Sneed, we're not going to have the corners. They're going to, our defensive secondary isn't going to be as good. How does Tennessee feel, bud? You're 1-3. Will Levis is a turnover machine. You're playing the AFC South. Nobody gives a shit about you. Pardon my language. Instead of taking your $33 million, you could have taken 25 and been in a bunch of commercials, okay, and win championships and get playoff win bonuses. I don't understand the Tyreek Hills and the L'Jarius Sneeds of the world not realizing what being a part of this can do for them monetarily and outside of the game. Obviously, I'm not as aware as what those opportunities are as maybe they are, of course. But I just being 1-3 and making an extra $5 million. I mean, I saw a stat. Once you make $60,000, what else do you need in life other than a nicer car? I mean, this is they're gonna. How many vacations do you need? How many mansions do you need? Play with Mahomes. Get your rings. Be a 4-time champion. This L'Jarius Sneed and Tyreek Hill chasing their money and pushing out. I mean, we just move on with the show. Whatever. Plug and play. Pick up a guy off the street. It's not a big deal. So the Kansas City Chiefs are really a blessing for all small market teams, all teams that one day hope to be the next big thing. It shows you if the Chiefs can do it, any team in football can do it. It is a level playing field. The level playing field is something that is not something that happens in all sports. It is a possibility in football, and the Kansas City Chiefs took advantage of it. Of course, it all started with the hiring of Andy Reid. Andy Reid, that was the biggest steal, biggest moment in the history of the Chiefs. He was running 14 personnel, guys. If you don't know what 14 personnel is 4 tight ends, 1 running back. Nobody does that. 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6. We have an all-go with 3 tight ends. Travis Kelce runs a 7-yard out route underneath him. It's a first down. That's Andy Reid. Okay? Patrick Mahomes not scheming that up. Patrick Mahomes throws the football. Patrick Mahomes evades sacks and makes plays. Andy Reid is the second greatest thing outside of Mahomes that we have ever done. Of course, the draft pick of Mahomes is the first thing. Everybody gives credit to Brett Veach, and Brett Veach is a great GM. Don't let me tell you different. He's unbelievable. He's had some really nice draft picks. He didn't draft Mahomes. John Dorsey did. Then he built a great roster with Cleveland, and then he decided to hire an idiot as a quarterback and give him a bunch of money. And you don't have a quarterback, you don't have a team. But John Dorsey found Mahomes. Don't give Brett Veach that credit. Brett Veach has drafted some great defensive players. Don't get me wrong. The Nick Boltons of the world. Of course, the Trent McDuffies of the world. Just some really great players. George Karlaftis was a great hit. He's great, fabulous there. He's terrible offensively. I mean, we're going to have some my friends on the show as we go through the months here. And one of my friends, Nick, he always says, Brett Veach, he just simply cannot draft an offensive talent. I mean, we picked Sky Moore over George Pickens. Okay, we picked, I believe, what was his? We picked, it wasn't Sky Moore. It was somebody to the degree of, I don't know if it was Tooney, not Tooney, but anyway, there are a bunch of different players that he has picked. Hardman, that's what it is, sweet mercy. We picked Hardman over DK Metcalf. Okay, we had DK Metcalf was on the board, and we picked McCole Hardman. Now, at that time, we were trying to replace Tyreek Hill because his son's arm was broken, and we didn't know what was going on with Tyreek Hill, so we just tried to get a clone of Tyreek Hill, but he's DK Metcalf. So he's benching 2 of me. What are we doing? You see DK Metcalf last night. He had 3 touchdowns taken off the board due to penalties. He's a fabulous player. If we had DK Metcalf, it'd be over. So Brett Veach, I think, gets a lot of credit, as he should, but he's better on the defensive side of the ball, and it was John Dorsey that found Mahomes, not him. So I think we need to pump the brakes on that. It's Mahomes, and it's Andy Reid, and of course the stardust of Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift helps with the popularity and the fan base. And now the question is, with the Kansas City Chiefs, before we move on to other topics, are they America's team? I would say yes. You go to L.A., and the Chargers don't have a fan base anyway, but you go to L.A. every year, there's more red there. You go to Jacksonville, there's more red there. You go to Oakland, Vegas, whatever, there's more red there. Can you imagine being Max Crosby for the Oakland Raiders, Las Vegas Raiders, whatever the heck they are, and it's Sunday Night Football, and you're gearing up to play Mahomes, you play him every year, and it's 2/3 red jerseys. The home of the Chiefs is in Vegas, home of the Chiefs. That's got to be demoralizing. I mean, the game is over before it starts. I mean, our road games are home games. That is why we are America's team. The Taylor Swift thing has solidified that. Just because Travis Kelce is dating Taylor Swift, we have gone global. You can say what you want. You can hate them. You can hate the Swifties. You can hate this. You can hate that. You hate the Taylor Swift cover. She's the most famous person that's an entertainer that's female on the planet. Couldn't name a song. Maybe 22. Couldn't name a song. But that's not my type of music. I like R&B stuff. You're gonna hear that on the channel as we go. But Taylor Swift is the reason why we have become America's team. It is the next step. It is the step from just being a dominant team and a winning team to the evil empire. We are the New York Yankees. We are the New England Patriots. And we are the new Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys haven't been to an NFC Championship game in 30 years, folks. They haven't even been in the top 4 teams in the league in 30 years, and all they do is talk about Dak Prescott. They just signed Dak Prescott to $60 million a year. You know what that is? That is a death sentence. Patrick Mahomes is the greatest player on earth, and he makes 40. And you're going to pay the 12th best quarterback in the league $60 million? Their defense is terrible. They can't stop a running cold. They have lost 3 consecutive home games. We're going to talk about lines on this channel, and we're going to dabble in sports betting. Not a big bettor, but I got friends that are. They're going to be on the show. They're a 3-point home dog to these Lions. Lions, like I said earlier today, they're my pick to get to the Super Bowl out of the NFC. They're going to boat race them. They're going to be up 14 points at half, win by 17. Dual-headed monster in the backfield. They're going to run all over them. I got Montgomery on one of my fantasy teams. He has a touchdown in every single game this season. And, of course, Cowboys can't do anything defensively. So this is one of the reasons why I want to start this channel, because those narratives for those teams, like the Cowboys, it's just simply, I'm simply done with it. Tired of turning on ESPN and talking about 2-2, 3-2 Dallas Cowboys team because they're worth $10 billion or whatever the hell it is. And they have, in Texas is, basically a country all by itself, and they have a bunch of fans. The only reason why I talk about it is because they want eyeballs on their screen. They want to hit TV ratings. Chiefs, America's team. We're going to follow them tooth and nail all the way to the end. We are pushing for the 3-peat. I think there's 2 teams that can stop them. 2 teams. One, the Ravens. We beat them by a toenail earlier this year. Really wish the Bengals would have beat them last week, be 2-3. Everybody would shut up about them. They'd be in 3rd place or whatever, maybe even 4th place. I'd be 3rd place. Browns are terrible. But now they're in 1st place. And, no, I don't love the Bengals, of course. And honestly, I'm more scared of the Bengals' offense than anything else that the Ravens can throw at them. But the Ravens are good. Their front seven's good. Lamar, undeniable talent. 4th best quarterback in the league, something like that. And Derrick Henry's great. I think Derrick Henry's going to have a much better season than he is going to play against, than how it's going to represent against the Chiefs. Chiefs D-line, Chiefs run game, defense is elite. I mean, he had a touchdown, but he had like 40 yards. Okay. Now Lamar Jackson was trying to play Superman in that game. He ran for like $120. Basically, ended up being in an ice tub for probably a week after that game. I just don't think anybody in the AFC other than the Ravens can give us a game. They can ball control it. They can beat us up. And Lamar can make the spectacular play. I didn't watch it live, of course, but that play he had against the Bengals last week where he shoved that guy off who's got him by 80 pounds and jumped out of bounds and threw a touchdown pass so likely. That's an amazing play. There's only a handful of guys in the league, Allen, Mahomes, Lamar, that can do that. And so they're our number one enemy number one, I think the only team in the AFC. Now that the Bengals are buried, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. Their schedule's too tough. Division's too tough. Defense is terrible. I wouldn't want to play the Bengals, but I just don't think they're going to make it with their schedule and their record. So I think it's the Ravens or the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, and the Lions. Back on the Lions. I love the Lions. Their fan base is great. Small market. Can't hate them. They play in the NFC. We play them once every 4 years. I am a Lions. I'm also a Vikings fan. I think they're more of a flash in the pan. Darnold isn't going to go to the Super Bowl. They might win a divisional game, something like that. But the Ravens and the Lions are the two teams that can get, in my opinion, that can get in the way of the Kansas City Chiefs doing the three-peat. And if they do the three-peat, if the three-peat happens, I think it's the Michael Jordan-LeBron debate between Mahomes and Brady that can officially begin. Obviously, Mahomes will be the Michael Jordan, whereas Tom Brady will be the LeBron. And the reason why I say that is because, yes, Brady's going to have more titles, but Mahomes isn't going to play as long as Tom Brady. Tom Brady won 2 Super Bowls over the age of 40. I don't think Mahomes is going to play past 38. He's going to get this, if he gets this, especially if he gets the three-peat. Gets the three-peat, puts another one on there, somewhere at age 33, whatever it is. That 5 Super Bowls, 3 in a row, been to 6, 5-1 in Super Bowls. What else does he have to prove? He's the GOAT. He's also the engine, the main engine. Now, we've shifted more to a defensive team, but the early years, Tom Brady didn't jump in and win the MVP his first year, okay? This is somebody that is proving the world that he is what makes this team go. So we're going to follow the Kansas City Chiefs tooth and nail. We're going to bet some Kansas City games. We're going to do some parlays, even though betting the Kansas City Chiefs is not how you want to make money. Because they spread the ball around, they don't have a couple of guys where you can bet on over 60 yards all the time. But we're gonna follow them. We love them, so we're gonna do some bets on the Chiefs and see if we can hit some parlays. And we'll lose money, but we're just gonna have fun with it. But I spent 20 minutes on the Chiefs. It's gonna be an hour-long video here, my inaugural video. Once again, this is Kyle the Fanatic Peterson, the Midwest Fanatic, is going to be the title of our channel. And we're going to talk about some small market teams, and of course our headliner, our spearhead, will be the Kansas City Chiefs. But we are going to digress a little bit. We are going to talk about last night's ALDS Game 4. My tip of the cap to the Kansas City Royals. What a season. 106 losses last year, everybody. Think about that. 106 losses. Payroll of God knows what, 80 million. No star to think about other than an emerging Bobby Witt, aging Salvador Perez. I'm going to talk about Salvador Perez here in a minute too. I'm disappointed in my opinion, but he could play better. But 106 losses. Greatest turnaround in overall wins. We won 89 games, including 3 postseason games this year. We were 86-76 in the regular season. We won 3 playoff games. We were 3-3 in the playoffs. Obviously, we started hot. We were 3-1. Then we trailed off. And I'll talk about those last 2 games here momentarily. But tip of the cap to this team, this franchise. They spent some money. They signed Bobby Witt. Bobby Witt did not have a good series. He didn't have a good series. He is a superstar. 5-tool player. I'm not a huge baseball guy. Obviously the Royals have been terrible. I really haven't had a team to follow. But we all know what 5 tools are. The speed, hitting for average, hitting for power, defense, and something else. He's a 5-tool guy. Top 5 player in the MLB. And to a small sacrifice of his own, he has signed a long-term contract with the Kansas City Royals. He's going to be here till I'm 50. I'm 34. Well, I mean, my sacrifices, Colin Cowherd said it best. Colin Cowherd, Fox FS1 is one of my favorite shows, sports shows to watch. I do like Colin. I do, of course, like Nick Wright with his Kansas City roots. But Colin Cowherd said that, Bobby Witt is just taking that sacrifice. What I mean by the sacrifice is he's going to get, what Colin Cowherd says, that he's going to get $300 million anywhere. He can get $300 million anywhere. He could be playing for the Yankees 2 years from now after the Royals, through his initial contract. But no, he wanted to stay in Kansas City, similar to Mahomes, sign a lifelong contract, knows the fans here, and he just decided that he was going to be a small market guy. And we got to thank him for that, tip the cap for that. And he's, 25? 24? He's going to be here for ever and ever and ever. And he won the batting title, ladies and gentlemen. He won the batting title in the American League. The Aaron Judges and the Juan Carlos Stantons of the world. Bobby Witt Jr. batted .332. Won the American League battle title. Took the Triple Crown away from Aaron Judge. 106 losses last year. 3 losses to the Yankees, who have a $300 million payroll. We lost 3 games to them by 5 runs. 3 games. 6-5, 3-2, 3-1. Kyle Isbell was 5 feet away from tying the game last night. My point being is, normally I'd be upset. I'd be screaming and jumping and throwing stuff, but I wasn't last night. I knew with Garrett Cole on the mound that we were not going to win that game. He did not pitch well in game 1. We had our chance to beat him. We walked 9 batters and lost. Zerpa came in. He's lights out through September. Every other playoff game, he comes in and walks 3 batters. That was the series. You can't do it. You can't score 5 runs in New York against Garrett Cole, walk 9 batters, and walk in 2 runs and win the series. The second that happened, I don't care if we won game 2. You can't have it. And Cole Reagan's our ace. Through 4 games. Through 4 innings. I don't know what's going on with his legs, cramping, whatever. He's had those issues the last month or whatever. But I don't care if it's on 4 days rest. If he's your ace, he's your best guy. They got Garrett Cole coming for the second time. He's going to pitch 12, 13, 14 innings against you. I think it's 12. You got to put Cole Reagans out there on 4 days rest. They scored a run yesterday. We were down 1-0 before an out. Double on the first pitch. Juan Soto puts one through the hole. We were in deep trouble immediately. Cole Reagans had to start that game. Save him for game 5. Well, there wasn't a game 5. Yes, they had the advantage. They didn't have to play a series beforehand. That's what you get when you win 94 games and have a $300 million payroll in your New York Yankees. Cole Reagans needs to be out there. That's my first thing. Second thing is the bullpen. We walked a bunch of guys, but the bullpen really wasn't the main reason why we lost. Our offense fell off a cliff. The second Vinny Pasquantino broke that thumb, okay, that was pretty much the end of the offense. He was rolling. He's at 97 RBIs. He was the glue in that lineup. We fell off a cliff right after that. So bullpen was great for us, as best as we could. We lost it with our offense, and the $300 million payroll Yankees had an incredible bullpen. Probably like 1 walk, and the Royals did not score a single run on their bullpen in 4 games. It wasn't the starting pitching, wasn't for the Yankees. It wasn't the Bombers. It wasn't, Juan Carlos had a 3-hit game, but the rest of the team went 1 for 25 in that game. He was 3 for 4, 3 for 5. The rest of the team went 1 for 25. They scored 6 runs in 2 games. We could have easily beat them. But their bullpen was too good, and our offense is too aggressive. The reason why they had so many walks is because they're waiting for their pitch. They're going to make you work. The Royals swing at the first pitch all the time. Michael Massey, to lead off that game, was in a 2-0 count. Ball was 3 ball lengths inside, and he swings at it and misses, ends up striking out 2 pitches later. Got to be patient. We're too aggressive. The whole put the ball in play is great, but not when you're swinging at shit. Pardon my language. When you're swinging at bad pitchers' pitches, putting the ball in play is not good. Weren't patient enough offensively. Yankees had an incredible bullpen. Weaver and Holmes, I think his name was, just untouchable. And that's what money can get you. Our bullpen did as good as they possibly can. Our bullpen was our weakness throughout the entirety of the year, and they pitched great. The walks were ugly, but they didn't really cash too many of them in except for game one, and that's kind of where it happened. But still, tip of the cap to this Royals team. We'll see what happens next year. I mean, hopefully Waka and our boy Seth Lugo, who could have pitched better, he lost his command in game 3, stick around. Lugo does not need to go 200 innings this year. Seth Lugo pitched 200 innings, people, over the course of the season. It's a rarity these days. Showed he's a little tired. That was the most in his career. He needed to pitch 180 and then have his best stuff for the playoffs, and that just didn't happen. So we were expected to get crushed. We survived 4 games. They eked out 3 wins. What are you going to do? It is what it is. But I'll tell you what. After this season, I've forgotten what 14 and 15 were like. I was actually in Portland when in 14 and 15 when it happened here in Kansas City. So I missed it. I didn't want to fly back for it. I was in my early 20s or whatever it was, and didn't want to fly back and pay $400 for a baseball game, of course, at that time in my life. So I just watched it on television, but I had forgotten what playoff baseball was like. Extremely fun. That Baltimore series was just amazing. But the Yankees, their bullpen was amazing. Tip of the cap to them, but they can buy whoever they want. So here's to whoever wins that Tigers and Cleveland series. Here's to a Tigers or Cleveland and a Padres World Series. So that's what we're going to focus on and hope for. But tip of the cap to the Royals. They have earned my viewership for the month of April next year. We're definitely going to be keeping tabs on them on this channel in the spring. So tip of the cap to them. Let's shift gears. We got about 20 minutes here, just a little over on my inaugural cast. If you're watching, probably 5 people that end up doing so on this inaugural podcast, inaugural input, inaugural video. But we're going to talk about the last sport that we're going to kind of keep a base on. It is the third on the list behind the Chiefs and the Royals, but that's the NBA. I have really in my life, up until the last few years, never been a NBA fan. It's a big market. It's a big market game. Even more so than baseball. Baseball, they extend the playoffs. Baseball is weird. Infield hits, squib hits. Guy drops the ball in the outfield, hits off his head, and goes over the wall. I mean, baseball's weird. So the small market teams have a snowball's chance. You're not beating the Boston Celtics as the Memphis Grizzlies 4 times out of 7 in a 48-minute, 1,000-possession basketball game. You're just not going to do it. So I've always hated the NBA. Big college basketball guy, went to the University of Kansas, obviously blue blood program. Should have more national titles than they do, but they're always competitive, and they have more than 0, and so I'll take it. But point being is that the NBA is not something that I traditionally followed for the first quarter century of my life. Moved to Portland. Quinn and I, my wife, threw a dart at a map. It hit Portland. We visited. We loved it. We weren't doing anything else. Let's go check it out. Pacific Northwest is beautiful, by the way. If you have the means to get out there, I definitely recommend that you do so. It's a place that's beautiful, rains a lot, super bright and colorful, plenty of things to do, unlike Spring Hill, Kansas. But, I digress. I love where I live, but it's a pretty entertaining place to be. Almost too entertaining. That's a conversation for another day. But the reason I bring it up is because I started to attend my first couple of professional basketball games. And this is what I'll say about it. The players in the National Basketball Association, outside the Mahomeses and the judges and some of the premier stars in other sports, they're the best athletes on the planet. period. I have never seen more physical gifts in person in my life than I have watching NBA basketball out in the Rose Center in Portland, downtown Portland. They're unbelievable. Think of it this way. A football team has 53 players. 53 players make the roster. Yeah, hell, you got practice squad on top of that people are making $200,000 on the practice squad. So, 75 players, whatever it is. Basketball teams have like 12. I think there's 30 teams, maybe 32 teams. I don't know. I don't really, I'm not 100% on that. That's not what this show is about. Perfect facts. It's not going to be about this show. We're just going to have conversations about the way things are. But watching Damian Lillard, who of course is my favorite player of all time, small market guy, Milwaukee now, he has a bigger market now, but it's something now that he kind of had to. He did his time there. He did everything he could there. He's from Weber State. Stayed in Portland for years and years. Did the best he could with McCollum to try to win a championship. Got swept in the finals by the Warriors dynasty. There's no shame in that. He's unbelievable, by the way. He's my height. I'm 6 feet tall. He's maybe 6'1", and he's the second greatest shooter in my opinion in the history of the game, behind of course Steph Curry. But you watch these guys, the Dwight Howards, the Giannis Antetokounmpos, the LeBrons. There are no athletes like these guys. There's 12 teams, 12 players on each team. 8 of them on the team actually play significant minutes. So you have 8 players times 30. 8 times 3 is 24, so it's 240 players. Okay, there's 200 players in the AFC West that play significant minutes, especially the injuries. God, it was a revolving door. There are 200 players in the entire world that can play significant minutes in the NBA. And then, who start, it's even less than that. Those guys are absolute freaks. They're like a bunch of Derrick Henrys running around. I mean, it's insane. And so because of my aha moment when I started going to those games in the Rose Garden down there in Portland, it was something that, okay, I have to pay attention to this. I hate to admit it. I prefer college basketball. But these guys are just, they're must-watch TV. And in person, they're even better. And going to a professional basketball game regular season is not that expensive. It's not. I've been to playoff games, and they're $120 to get in. I mean, they're really not that bad. They play 82 of them, kind of like baseball, where you can get a ticket. If you're a sports person and you have not been to a professional basketball game, do it once, buy a halfway decent ticket, and go watch Giannis Antetokounmpo dunk on some people. I mean, it is something that you will never forget. I went to the Oklahoma City Thunder, Memphis Grizzlies playoff game. This is 12 years ago. This is back when Zach Randolph and Marc Gasol, and I was following them. I was in Kansas City. Hadn't been to Portland yet. And we had, so I was a Memphis Grizzlies fan, not a Ja Morant guy. I faded away from the Memphis Grizzlies due to some stuff going on with Ja, but the Zach Randolphs and the Marc Gasol, they played bully ball. They played old-fashioned 70s basketball, back you down, dunk it. And it's one of the, I'll never forget that game. I'll never forget that game. Mike Miller, kind of a seventh guy off the bench. Seventh guy on the roster, second guy, third guy off the bench. He had like 9 threes in the game. They won by like 2 in overtime. And they were the road team. I was repping the Zach Randolph jersey, and it was one of the greatest experiences in my sports career outside of Arrowhead Stadium. NBA basketball in person is absolutely fantastic. I hate to admit it, because the Boston Celtics have 18 championships, and the Los Angeles Lakers have 17 championships, and my father used to be a big Lakers guy, and yada, 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 yada. And it's a top-heavy sport, and it's not something that this channel really loves to see. But you got to tip your hat to just the entertainment. Once again, back to this entertainment thing. This is an entertainment business, and my God, is it entertaining. I mean, Damian Lillard hitting 40-footers, and you're 60 feet away from it. It's unbelievable. So those guys are just the greatest athletes pretty much on the planet, genetic freaks. But that's why I like Dame so much. We're going to talk about Dame. We are going to follow the Bucks this year. People aren't even talking about the Bucks. I mean, hell, Giannis didn't even play. He didn't even play a single playoff game. Dame, I feel so bad for Dame. He gets traded. He did all this hubbub. He did everything he could for Portland, and he literally goes into Milwaukee. They have a great season. Middleton's hurt, and Giannis doesn't play a single game in the postseason. If they play the postseason, they go to if Giannis plays in the postseason, they go to the Eastern Conference Finals. Giannis is probably the second or third best player on the planet, and he didn't play. I think Dame's got one or two more shots, and he's going to be done. I expect the Bucks. We're going to be following the Bucks a lot this year on this channel, so I expect the Bucks to have a great season. So we have about 15 more minutes here on the show. We're going to wrap it up with a couple of things. The first thing would be just, thank you to all the people who end up, viewing this stuff. I'm going to do the best I can to bring you my takes. This is going to be a take show. This is not going to be a perfect stats show. This is not going to be a real-time update show. We are going to be watching the Chiefs in real time when they play their games on Sundays or Mondays or Christmas Day or wherever the hell they play. But this is not, don't fact check me every single time. Don't be like, it was 13 free throws instead of 12. That's not what this is going to be about. Of course, I don't have the resources to keep up with, the FS1 shows and some of the people who are more established channels who do this for a living. The editing's not going to be good. I'm going to ask my Alexa to play music. It's going to be that kind of thing. But hopefully, I can be entertaining for you. I can shed some light on sports stories from a small market perspective, and a perspective that shows that it's not all about the Cowboys and the Dodgers and the Yankees and the Mets and all these stupid teams that I really root against, that they have tens of millions of fans. It's not going to be about that. We're going to talk about a bunch of different teams, and then all those teams combined could have a similar amount of fans to the teams that we're not going to talk about. And so hopefully there are people out there that find that appealing. And it's something that I can bring some entertainment to. Like I said, we are going to have guests on this show. We are going to be talking about fantasy. We are going to be talking about betting. I'm not a huge bettor. I've done it a couple of times. It's a big deal. I mean, sports betting is rebuilding school districts. Okay, I mean, the losses from degenerate gamblers are feeding the hungry. Okay, it's a huge, massive industry. I just got an alert on my phone just a second ago from my DraftKings. I'm in a work league with my boss. We have to talk about it because it's so popular and it's fun. I hate to admit it. I mostly lose, so we're gonna bring on some people that do a little bit better than I do. But it is fun, and when you have skin in the game, it does make it more exciting. When you need over 2.5 catches from Kareem Hunt, and he gets that third catch, that's pretty exciting. And when you bet $5 and you win $350, that can be fun. And you got to lose a lot of those to break even. So we are going to have a little bit of a show, kind of one more recap of what you can expect on a weekly basis. Tuesdays, we're going to pre-show. It'll be a 45-minute to an hour show, kind of talk about what's going on in the week. Tuesdays. Obviously, it's a work night for me. This is my first video. I'm still grinding on the 9 to 5. Something I still have to do to put bread, pay the mortgage, put food on the table, stuff like that. So nothing too crazy along during the week. So we're gonna have one Tuesday show, talk about the week's events ahead, and then like I said, I like Thursday night football. It's the beginning of my weekend, and it's something that we can follow, and they sometimes will have some decent games. If it's a second half like we thought we were going to have last night, where the 49ers were up 20 and it was about over, we can we might call it early on some Thursday nights. Might shift gears, maybe play some chess or something like that, wrap up the show. We are going to do a Thursday night show and kind of just keep track of that Thursday night game. Starts my weekend. It's perfect timing. Then on Sundays, Saturday, we are going to do like a game night. And I'll be saving my voice a little bit. We'll be more just gaming with the guys and playing some League and playing some chess, and we're going to be playing some Call of Duty. Of course, Black Ops comes out here in just a few days, and my friends are rip-roaring to go, so you can watch them carry me through that, and maybe I get a little bit better as we learn. But not a Warzone guy. New game coming out, so we're going to mess around with some video games. Just kind of a shift gear. It's just not all about sports, and it's just going to be kind of a multiple facet channel when it comes to that. So we're going to cover a couple bases. And of course, on Sundays or Mondays or whenever the Chiefs playing, it might be, a Friday afternoon. Whenever the Chiefs playing, I'm going to be on. We're going to have it on the big screen. We're going to be following the Chiefs play-by-play. And of course, when we have the Chiefs on and we're following the Chiefs, we are going to have the Mahomes glasses on for the Chiefs games. We're going to be in the zone. We are, 7 wins this year from the number 1 seed. Have the tiebreaker over Baltimore. Can Baltimore get to 12 wins? They have a tough schedule, tougher division. So when the Chiefs are on, we'll have the Mahomes glasses on, and we will be following those games very closely, play by play, and following the Chiefs on their road to history. Last thing I'll say is what a three-peat would mean. And I kind of touched base on this a little bit earlier. A three-peat would be something that, A, has never been done. I think it puts Mahomes immediately over Brady. Think about it. 4 Super Bowl wins in 7 years. He wins the Super Bowl more often than he doesn't. 4 out of 7. Been to another one. So he also has a runner-up. 4 Super Bowls. If we win it this year, 3 in a row, 4 Super Bowls, a runner-up, and he's been to the AFC Championship game 7 consecutive years. 7. Now, Tom Brady did have a run where he won, I believe it was 8 consecutive AFC Championship games for Tom Brady. I doubt 7 of those were at home. Okay, we're gonna have odds are we'll get the 1 seed, and we'll have 6 out of 7 AFC Championship games at home. It is, as Nick Wright has so adequately said, the the Arrowhead Invitational. It's a run unlike anybody's ever seen, and it would cement, depending on who you ask, it would immediately start the conversation of who's had a better career between Tom Brady and Mahomes, and he would also pass Joe Montana. Joe Montana has 4 Super Bowls. Joe Montana does have one more Super Bowl ring. I believe it's 3 or 4. But people have Joe Montana up, because of the ring count. Sometimes people have Joe Montana above Patrick Mahomes. That conversation will be over. Obviously, it's a new era. But, Joe Montana, had some pretty good teams down there in the 49er land. And win those 4 Super Bowls. So, keep an eye on this channel. We're going to be posting. I believe it's going to be on a YouTube post. We're going to get a channel set up here in the near future. We're going to get some editing, video editing. We're going to get some music added, and we're going to turn this into a big hobby. Once again, this is not going to be me looking for profit or money or anything like that. Like I said, I've had a lot of history and trying to drive to follow sports and to be alongside of sports. Contact sports was not something that I was able to do due to a few health issues with my lower body, and so playing wasn't really ever a possibility for me. So I always wanted to comment on them and be around them, and it's something that engages my brain. And this new wave of internet podcasting and the way the Kansas City Chiefs have turned into a phenomenon kind of allows this type of thing to exist. So I'm grateful for the technology that exists, as well as the social media aspect of it, and the success of the team that I followed since I was knee high on a grasshopper. My whole family's from Kansas City. Been following this team since I was, since my first memories were logged. They were terrible. The Romeo Crennel days and the Herm Edwards day. We love you, Herm, but my God, you're not very good as a coach. And we have figured out, and we've to a degree, it's luck. we've lucked into, the cornerstones of a dynasty, and that's the coach and the quarterback. A lot of people say Travis Kelce, but I think we all know deep down that it's more Chris Jones. It's more Travis Kelce is a hell of a player, but Chris Jones, that defense, and also Steve Spagnuolo. Steve Spagnuolo is a 4-time Super Bowl champion. Hell, yeah, I think 2 with the Giants, 2 with us. I don't think he was with us with our first ring. And Travis Kelce's 5th maybe on that list. But those 5 guys, Mahomes, Andy Reid, Chris Jones, Steve Spagnuolo, those 5 guys, you can plug and play everybody else. Aaron Donald aside, Chris Jones, the best defensive tackle I've ever seen. And sometimes Chris Jones will line up on the outside. Okay? I don't know if Aaron Donald did that quite as much. And Chris Jones is taller, and he gets his hands up a little bit better than Donald did, in my opinion. But, ask the 49ers and Jimmy Garoppolo on that last drive in 2019. Those 5 guys have created something alongside their teammates, of course. It takes the whole group, but those 5 guys have created something so special that I'm here recording talking about them, and people are trying to make a living outside of their normal 9-to-5s talking about them, and they're so popular and they're so massive, and the Taylor Swift thing has just added the cherry on top, where following the Chiefs is something that people do for a living. People make 6 figures just talking about the Kansas City Chiefs. And that's where we're at with this team. That's where we're at with this dynasty. And it is a dynasty with a capital D. This is not something that is deniable. 3 Super Bowls, 5 years, another appearance, and a second half collapse from another one. It's just something that is undeniable, and we just got to enjoy the ride. And here's the crazy thing. Last thing I'll say, I got just 3 minutes left, and we'll call it for my first video. We're only halfway through, ladies and gentlemen. Patrick Mahomes is 29 years old. This is his 7th or 8th season. I believe this is his 7th season. He just turned 29. He will not play past 40. He will play probably till he's 38. That's my guess. He's accomplished enough. He's made enough money. His logo's on the Texas Tech uniforms now. And, he owns the Royals. I mean, he's made probably more money than Brady did his whole career. It's just a different world. It's a different salary cap. It's a different everything. And also, Tom Brady was married to Giselle, who made more money than he did. He didn't need it. He played for $10 million. So Patrick is not going to play till he's 40. He's not going to win 2 Super Bowls past 40. So I don't think he needs to get to 7. I think 5 is his magic number. If he wins 5 in 13 years, whatever it is, and goes to another 2, he's 5-2 in Super Bowl. Yeah. And then if you throw the 3P on top of it, it's over. He does not need to get to 7. If he gets to 5 with a 3P, he's the best player to ever play the game. And the only person he's even competing right now with is Tom Brady. And Tom Brady beat Patrick Mahomes twice to win Super Bowls. Twice. Once in the Super Bowl, once in the AFC Championship game. Won both those games, won the 2 Super Bowls. It still doesn't matter. Well, and what we forget is that Mahomes did win a Super Bowl while Tom Brady was playing. I believe his last year for the Patriots was the 2019. And then I believe in 2021, when we beat the Eagles, I think it was Tom Brady's last year. Don't quote me on that, but I believe that's what it is. So I'm going to turn on some music for the last minute of our show. Once again, this is Kyle the Fanatic Peterson. We're signing off in our inaugural video for the Midwest Fanatic. Thank you so much for checking in, and we will see you on Tuesday for our first video to start our first week as we follow all Midwest sports, including the back-to-back two-time Super Bowl champions, Kansas City Chiefs, and we will preview the week ahead. Thanks so much, and welcome to the Fanatic Show. Peace.